Hi there, this is the short list. I'm Rob Nunnery. Life is short. I write about what's worth your time when life and your body forces you to cut the list down just a bit more. Here's this week's episode called Nothing This Weekend. Last night I was sitting on the couch with my right leg elevated and an ice pack on my calf. Danelle warned me. Before my second paddle session of the day, she texted me and said she really didn't think I should play again. My right knee has been a little swollen lately, so I'd already played once that afternoon, and I just wanted to make sure it felt okay if I were going to play the second session. And the knee felt fine. So obviously, what did I do? I played again. And early in the second session, I felt something pull and just, that weird area that's between your calf and Achilles. It's not the Achilles. It's not like your big calf muscle. It's just like this little muscle that kind of sits underneath the calf, is what it feels like, but it's a little bit lower down. I've done something similar a few times over the years playing pickleball. It's like a weird place to try to stretch out and to try to heal. But I wrapped it in the moment at the courts and I kept going. It was doubles, and stopping would have ended the session for everyone. And for some, it's their only chance the whole week to play. So the last thing you want is to leave a group with three players when you get hurt in the first 15 minutes of a session. So I could still move around and scoot about enough to at least be a body on the court. But by the time I got home, I was just super annoyed with my body. And of course, she'd been right. And when I got home, Danelle had dinner ready. She got me ice. She had the shower running. She wrapped my leg for me. And I told her, you can tell me that you told me so all day tomorrow if you'd like. Tonight, I'm just a bit bummed. And then I sat there with my leg up and tried to figure out, like, why is this getting me so down? It's just a little minor muscle strain. It already feels better the next day after. But I think the muscle strain just opened a deeper wound that I often push down. Somewhere underneath the frustration of the muscle strain was 4 years of Crohn's, fistulas, and surgery after surgery that ended with a permanent stoma and a sewn up bottom. And when I actually let that land and I reflect on that, I often just think, how the fuck did I get here? And I know how bad those years were, and I know how much better things are now, and I'm incredibly grateful. But the muscle strain last night also just made me angry. I'm tired of something being wrong with my body all the time. I played most of my pickleball career with something going on. I played for 2 years on a torn right meniscus. Before that, I had surgery on my left meniscus. And during that time, I was playing tournaments while dealing with the Crohn stuff, the fistulas, the abscesses, everything else that came with that. I just would love a stretch where my body just works. But I guess it's nice to be complaining about muscle strains instead of fistulas today. Physical activity it keeps my head right. If I go too long without moving, I get low, I get unmotivated, my head can actually get dark. Playing really helps me. I sweat, my heart rate gets up, I compete, I problem solve, I'm outside in the sun. If it's pickleball or paddle, there's still a part of it that just feels like it was playing when I was a kid. Just kind of the carefree mental aspect of being fully immersed in an activity that allows me to turn off the brain and just really enjoy. And when I finish, I always find that some of the stress that I carry is gone. During the worst years of Crohn's, I kept playing because I needed that release. My doctors had told me that running around wasn't going to make the fistulas themselves worse or my Crohn's worse. The question was just whether I could deal with the pain. So I dealt with it. And those years were hard enough while I could still play. I don't like thinking about I don't like thinking about where my head would have gone had I not been able to do that too. Which is probably why pulling a muscle during a random Thursday night paddle game can still make me angry. My brain wants to go, it still wants to compete. And had I pulled my calf during a time when I was competing on tour full time, I'd be way more stressed. It'd be, can I practice tomorrow? Can I compete this weekend? What happens if I can't? I'm going to let my partners down. I'm going to not make money. And last night, the nice part was that there was nothing to panic about. There's no tournament this weekend. I'm not missing out on practice days. My paycheck isn't dependent on whether this thing heals by the weekend. I can ice it elevate it, give it a few days. And this morning, the calf already feels a bit better. I still want to be as active as I can, so I'm playing 9 holes this afternoon. I can swing a golf club without feeling the calf, and I finally found one little swing thought that has helped me start hitting the ball a bit better. The golf, of course, doesn't give me the cardio that I want. It's time consuming, but it's so technical that I really am enjoying the learning process and the iterations that come along with, hitting a ball, not going where you want it to go, and all of the iterations and feedback loops that go into trying to sort that out. I just love that mental challenge, and the fact that it's tied to, being physical with your body is all that much better for me. But today I get to go outside on a sunny winter afternoon in George, hit a golf ball around in nature for a couple hours, and work on something that's truly hard enough to just keep my brain occupied. I'll ice the I'll ice the calf a bit more afterwards. Paddle can wait a couple days, not going anywhere. And more importantly, there's no tournament this weekend, so I can chill out with the stress. Okay, that's me. That's Rob. A couple notes from our sponsor, which partners with us on this podcast and newsletter. That would be Stealth Belt. And as you can tell, my ostomy usually isn't what stops me from playing anymore. This week it was a muscle strain in my calf. But I do wear my Stealth Belt every single day, including when I play paddle, pickleball, and golf. It keeps my pouch secure and flat against my body so I can move without thinking much about it. It doesn't magically prevent every ostomy issue, of course. And I actually sweated enough in those 2 paddle sessions where part of my adhesive actually started lifting. The belt's still on, and it keeps it secure even though the adhesive's lifting. And it's just one of those things that makes being active with an ostomy that much easier for me. If you want to see the Stealth Belt versions that I use, there is a link in the show notes, and you can also use code ROBN, ROBN. That'll save you some money. And of course, this episode would not be complete without This Week in South Africa. There's springbok roaming the estate where we live. I didn't know springbok existed before I moved here. I had heard of the Springboks rugby team, which is the national mascot for the rugby team. They're the Springboks. But this animal, watching them move is absolutely ridiculous. When they get going, they do this thing called pronking, where they launch straight up into the air with stiff legs and an arched back over and over. It's like a pogo stick. They get about 6 feet off the ground doing it, and scientists still aren't completely sure why they do it. The leading theory is they're just showing predators how fit they are and how easy it is to escape, which is absolutely true when you also account for their speed. They travel up to 55 miles per hour. For those of you not in the US, that's 88 kilometers an hour, making them one of the absolute fastest land animals in Africa. It's just not something you would have thought of, right? You'd think cheetah, you'd think all these different animals that are super fast, not a springbok, but 55 miles per hour and being able to jump 6 feet off the ground is absurd. Anyways, there's a link here where you can actually watch springbok pronk. Is that how you say it? If it's not pronking, you can watch them pronk. Either way, you can see them pronking, or you can watch the springbok pronk. And the link that I provided is just a YouTube link that is a couple minutes long, but it's absolutely worth 2 minutes of your day. But that is this week's short list. I'm Rob Nunnery. I will talk to you next week.